Welcome friends to our NPTEL MOOC module on health economics. We are explaining now in this lecture on equity measurement. We will give you the practical or the hands on. So far we have been discussing the various concepts of equity, equality and also the theories which are aligned with the explanation of these concepts. Without delay, I think it is better to explain very specifically on equity measurement at practical. In this one, I think I have to recap what we have done it. Like in the previous lectures, we discussed about equity in health financing and distribution. Here, especially in financing and distribution unit, we talked about vertical and horizontal equity. Then we also discuss about concentration curve, concentration index and then Cock1 is progressivity index. I think we have also cited the examples along with the theory and we interpreted the coefficients based on the example data. Today we will take you through the real data where you can calculate the value and interpret. Okay. So, hence the target of this is to measure the equity and hence it is practical or hands on. Especially we will be emphasizing on concentration curve and concentration index. Then to derive this we require two important key variables because it is plotted usually in the two dimensional space. So, usually for the concentration curve we require to have a cumulative summation or cumulative figure in percentage. I will discuss this. So, the most important key variables usually taken in this context is the for our case so far we have been emphasizing on health variable and variable capturing living standards against which the distribution is to be assessed. So, we can compare like how living standard is actually distributed over different quantiles. So, or the health standard of the people is actually distributed over their living standards. So, these will define the concentration whether it is pro poor or it is pro rich is to be discussed carefully. Here the data could be of two types which we usually face, especially these are based on the micro data. Based on the macro it is really not suggested to do it. In micro data I mean the responses of the people or the households and how they response based on their health, wealth. Similarly, you can also relate to many other contexts like other social indicators. So, at the individual level we target or we collect the data from the household, they are called raw household survey data and these values of both the health as well as the living standard and those are available in different rounds of the large scale data survey data which we have already discussed in our case. And then in the group data we require individual data as well as group data where the living standard is actually grouped instead of by individual information, the maybe wealth or maybe income is presented in quintiles. Okay. So, or in quintiles or maybe in decile, maybe in trecile. So, whenever we make it in group, then how this group is actually indicating the or explaining the concentration curve, where the group data is taken, the mean value of the that group variable is most important and is considered to be the unit of measurement. Then second one is ranking of the groups also important, like we have to keep it lower to the upper or upper to the lower. Usually we keep it poorest then second poorest so far as living standard is concerned. We make it as poorest, second poorest or the middle income or the upper richest and the richest one and so on. I will show you what is this in the data and the percentage of the sample falling into each group are also known to explain the group data. Then concentration curve plots shares of health variable against quintiles of the living standard variable. In the group data case, charts are easily produced in the Microsoft Excel. We will explain you through the Microsoft Excel, we will also explain you through the STATA software with the help of the raw data or the individual data. But for simplicity, we can also run who can find out concentration curve based on the raw data using Microsoft Excel as well. However, we will show you both with the help of these tools. Now, in the next slides, we will actually explain with an example through the Excel. Here is my data as a sample data, maybe representing to a district, maybe a state, maybe a country. It is on under 5 dates in India, dates and birth, okay, births and death ranging from the period 82 to 1982 to 92. So, so here number of births we have written as number of births and number of number of deaths. Now, in the data, as I mentioned, we require two variables. One is through their standard of living, maybe by wealth group, and it is presented with quintiles, poorest, then second poorest, second level, then middle, fourth level, and the richest one. Hence, it is in quintile. And another indicating variable is our these figures, either birth or deaths. Okay. So, if you have this, we can able to derive the concentration curve. The first aspect is the relative birth percentage. So, what is done, this is 23%, this is 22%, then and so on, this divided by the total number, we will find out this. Then here it is cumulative percentage of birth, and another figure from here is under 5 mortality rate per 1000 population. So, it is given, and then number of deaths in total is written as against the poorest people, I mean in the bracket of poorest, then similarly for second poorest, etc. Then their relative deaths we can calculate and cumulative death percentage we can calculate. Now, what I will do, I will use the Excel. I will use the Excel. Here is my Excel data which I just mentioned. Just two variable of interest is required. We know that the third variable is our wealth quintile. Okay. I mean the two variable, that is on the horizontal level we have for each 5 indicator we have actually different wealth, that is starting for here we require cumulative birth percentage which we have just derived and the cumulative death percentage. Now, what I will do, we will try to explain through couple of things. Our target is to go for what? Go for concentration curve. Okay. So, what we do, we will insert, then we will go to the data, then we will insert a graph, we require a graph for it. So, from the chart you can just see, I am just taking through a slow process, and here is the line diagram, we need to take the help of this. Then what we need to define here, we need to actually select this, then we select the data. Where is our data? Now, here we have the data, we need to add. First point of explanation is that we are supposed to compare with a line of equality. Where is the line of equality and how our real data is diverse from the line of equality. So, let us write down that line of equality. I will just do the process once again. So, we have this data corresponding to the wealth level. I am not skipping very quickly. So, here is my data, then I require either the birth percentage, cumulative birth percentage and cumulative death percentage. Then I have to go to insert, then here is the chart, then I can pick up anything, but this is most preferred because no single scatter points are not required, smooth line is suggested. So, once we okay, I just selected, I need not select this. What I do, I will just directly draw it. I am going to the insert again, then here is my chart, is the line diagram, then I have to select this, then here is my data, then we need to add. First, as I suggested, you need to write down line of equality. We have also guided in our slide equality. Okay. Then save it, line of equality. Then now, when I say it is line of equality, both the variables should be actually having the same, then only we will find out. So, here okay, I think here I will select maybe birth or maybe death. So, let us compare to the death first, or let us compare through these first. Then in the y axis also I have to take the same, then only it indicates the line of equality. Okay, then simple okay. Now, one another thing, by default the Excel has taken 120 in both the axes. What I do, I have to adjust this. This has to be out of 100, then only it will work. Okay. Yes. So, 100, I have to make it 100 here. All right. Similarly, y axis as well. Okay. So, then right click on it. Yes, format axis, you will get this, and then 100. Now, we have got the required line of equality. Now, you can also change the figure if you want. Sometimes you might have seen in a different article that the figure and this presentation should be very clear. So, you can change this figure a bit like this, it highlights the exact line very clearly. Now, next one is to add the exact line of inequity, or the that is where we are explain the concentration curve. So, based on the real data. So, what we do, we will select this, then we will try to add. So, we will add and insert, then add. Okay. We will add here. Yes. So, here we are just going to add the data. Here is the add one, where here I am writing down the curve which we are interested to derive, that is called concentration curve. Concentration curve. Okay. Then x variable is our this birth, cumulative birth percentage, and the y variable is our death. It will compare these two and find out which side it has relative bias. Okay. Now, you can see this from the diagram. Now, here is our concentration curve, and you can now see that the curve is from the line of equality, it is positioned in the left side. We have already explained earlier that when it is actually aligned at the left side, it is in fact explaining pro-poor bias. So, we are now explaining through our slide here. So, slide is here. Now, we can change to the slide. Okay. So, here is my slide. Now, so whatever the step I have said, this is also presented systematically. We will go to insert, then in the insert we will select the scatter plot, then from the scatter plot we will select the smooth line diagram, either that or at the bottom, whichever you take, it is fine. Then rest like we will add the line which I have suggested, like line of equality, then we will plot its x variable and y variable accordingly. And for the concentration curve, we are supposed to have the cumulative percentage, which I have already shown to you, and based on all systematic guidance, we could able to find our concentration curve, and this is derived as based on the cumulative percentage of death as compared to the birth, and every time it is ranked by wealth. So, it seems that the curve is positioned at the left side from the concentration curve, as we already explained that it is explaining pro rich. I mean, that is the extent or the incidence of deaths with the rich is relatively with the pro poor, sorry, since it is on the left hand side. So, it is pro poor, and it is biased towards the poor, and this indicates that when the concentration aligned at the left, it indicates that poorest people have higher incidence of deaths. Okay. So, these are all there, and we have also mentioned all these steps step by step, and we adjust with that 100. So, now from the diagram we can just see conclude that this is pro poor inequity as it is above the line of equality. So, what we did just now is based on the group data, because we presented in quintiles of the living standard. Now, we are explaining with the help of micro data. So, micro data we will take the help of the micro responses from the survey, and graphing concentration curves in STATA can be done using the command called GL curve. Okay. So, GL curve two-way or con index. Okay. So, we will practice that is con index stands for concentration index. We will practice using con index. It also gives the value of the concentration index. For practice, we have taken the data that is the latest health survey data or NSS 75th round, which was conducted in 2017-18, and we are keeping two variables for deriving the concentration curve, that is out of pocket expenditure on healthcare and the living standard, that is household income. So, we are supposed to load the data in STATA, and then some of the operation we need to do. We need to install then like install con index, then Lorentz curve packages, and follow next steps accordingly. Okay. So, these are all there. So, we need to just move to the STATA. Okay. So, here is the packages, we have already done it. However, you need to from the screen itself you need to install these things, SSC install con index. Like if I just do it, it's okay. So, here is my STATA window. I think we have already explained in our lectures. So, what I do SSC probably slide is not here, is it there? Okay, it is fine. So, I will just do install. You can also search for take the help install con index. Okay. So, this is now the package is installed. All right. So, now similarly we are supposed to also install SSC install Lorentz, SSC install Lorentz. Okay. Lorentz. So, we have also installed this, but it has to be taken checking Lorentz consistency, verifying not already installed. All files exist and are up to date, it is fine I think. The next one is we need to sort the variables. Now, where is the data? I just need to mention here the data I have kept it for our record example data. So, I will just take that example data from here from my data set. You can, I will also suggest how you can do it. Okay. So, once the data is loaded, what the data stands for, it is called out of pocket expenditure on healthcare, and second one is household income quintile. Okay, but these quintile these values are actually plotted against each individual. So, the most important aspect is that these are actually each individual data. Okay. So, micro, hence we are saying these are called micro data, and you can just check how many observations. It is 5,56,756 observations are there in total in the survey data as per the 75th round. Now, next step is to do we need to sort the variable, that is a household income quintile. Okay. So, it has to be kept as poorest, then second poorest, then middle, then accordingly till the richest one. Then we need to go for the concentration index command. Okay. So, what I do, I will write down as it is. I have also shown into con index, then this variable, that is the first variable of interest, out of pocket expenditure, then there has to be a comma, then we need to write down as rank, var rank var, this is as per the command. Then we should have the second variable as by ranking. Okay. So, we need to close the bracket, then robust. All right, robust, actually the standard error etc. is measured through robust, then true 0, graph, y title, in the y axis, that y title has to be mentioned as cumulative proportion of OOP. Okay. You can insert, write down cumulative proportion of, what is the variable you have taken, OOPHE. Okay. So, and the X title, all right, then in bracket rank of household income quintile. All right. So, this is the standard approach we usually do to derive. Then with enter we will get our desired result. Okay. So, now you can just see this is our desired result. You can just see the x axis and y axis, both we have already derived. And now, as per the micro data, you can just come back to the slide, and as per the micro data, we have got a reverse result. The result is also shown in the STATA window, the confidence interval, and the effective number of observation final is 93,150, and the index value is also given as 0.20511516, standard error, and so on. I will just explain from my slide, which will be more comfortable to you. So, here is the detail of what we have derived based on the command, but make sure that you are actually running this and you are also keeping as per this command. Okay. And as I just said, our index value is in positive and it is significant. Okay. Now, and significant because p value is explaining the significance. It is as per the 95% confidence interval. Now, our concentration curve is derived to be right from the equal line of equality. This explains that since on the right hand side or on the x axis you have taken income quintile, that means your cumulative proportion of the spending is actually pro rich, okay, is biased towards the rich people. Index value is 0.2051, hence it is pro rich in equity, and also we have explained for proper and whole analysis, weights are also required. Sometimes we need to represent the entire district or so. In that case, the respective weight in that round can be taken. Usually, since it is individual data, I weight can be in the bracket, we can take I weight as well. So, this is just for your primary introduction, and I think rest you can follow from this reading by Ju K. It is one of the standard paper published in this journal Boulevard Health Organization 2008. So, thank you, that is all. I think you will enjoy with these practical directions. Thank you.